Last week, sides at the bottom of the league made their move. BTEC beat league leaders Ardsley 1-0. Sloss embarrassed the champions Bolton Phoenix 2-1 away. Dragons picked up a superb win against Fallon, while Hoddesdon won the big 6-pointer against Devils. Churchtown lead the way after winning away at Palmouth and Icos. Chudley Cannons won the grudge match for Midlothian, while Astor arguably put in performance of the week, beating their crunch rivals Hooligans. What's going to happen this week? That's what we're about to find out. Welcome to the CM Super League preview show. Yes, good evening, Super League fans. Here we are on the cusp of another excellent weekend of Super League action. We've changed a few things around media-wise this week, mainly for my own projects that I'm working on. So we're going to be offering you 2 video shows a week, and for at least a couple of weeks there'll be no blog. I'm hoping to be joined by an array of guests throughout this sort of half hour or so preview to Sunday's action. Last week was definitely a week for the teams at the bottom of the league. Swindon Devils were the big losers, being the only ones at the bottom, sort of 4 or 5 that didn't win, and now they're in trouble. At the top, we have new leaders, as was said in the intro, and again, a number of the top 6 teams failed to do what was expected of them by fans and managers alike. But they haven't exactly been punished. I want to say huge congratulations to Astor, who, for me, were the big winners. You could say Churchtown for getting top of the league, of course, but Astor were the only team to really be in a position to punish the top 6, and they've just narrowed the gap a little bit. So it's all looking promising for those that tip them as outsiders potentially breaking into the top 6. While waiting for guests, let's get on and look ahead to what's happening on Sunday, and hopefully we'll be able to introduce to a few special guests along the way. Match number 1 this Sunday is Chudley Cannons hosting Dragon Destroyers. Both sides back in form after very impressive wins last weekend, but this game's important for them because whoever loses, in my opinion, is in danger, particularly the way results went and last weekend. If all the teams at the bottom can maintain that form, find some consistency, and I include Swindon Devils in that, if they can find some consistency, because they had a couple of decent results leading up until last weekend. Whoever loses this game could be sucked back into that little group down the bottom. On saying that, a draw, you could think on that basis that they could play out a draw. I don't think that suits either of them because of A, where their aspirations are going to be, and B, if they're not picking up maximum points and teams like Sloths, Hoddesdon, BTEC, Devils, they pick up wins, then they're both sucked back in down the bottom, and none of them want to be looking down the bottom. They want to be looking up. What has impressed me, and I think it has to be said, is the Dragons' form. Last 2 games, picking up wins against top 6 sides, considering they are a team that has been written off. And we know the situation with regards to their manager considering his position. It has to be said that the fight that Dragons have shown the last couple of weeks, kind of reminiscent to what they achieved last season. And for that reason, I think that they have potential yet. I know there's a bit of a points gap, but I'm not one that's saying that the top 6 as it is going to finish there, as we know from before. I think Dragons could put a run together like they did last year, and who knows where it ends up. we wait and see. Match 2 this week. Huge game. I've not picked it as my match of the week because there is one other that I think will interest me and interest fans. But a massive game as 2 of the top 3 meet. Churchtown host Midlothian. And the question I have for this one is are we at a stage when this sort of game comes up where we're saying winner guarantees himself a top 2 spot? Potentially too early to say that, especially when you consider the quality of the other sides. But when you see who Ardsley have got this week as well, I think whoever wins this game finds themselves in an excellent position. I think a draw suits Churchtown more than it does Midlothian. And by that, I mean Midlothian have aspirations because of the way a lot of people have seen them. And admittedly, I'm someone who has bigged them up. I've said they could go on to bigger and better things. I like the management duo. I like the squad. I think some of the players that they've pulled out of nowhere have been sensational. Midlothian want to dine at the top table. And to do that, they need to beat teams like Churchtown. Whereas Churchtown are already there. They are at top of the summit as we speak. They are seen as title contenders by most, if not all. So they've already got this sort of aura around them, Churchtown. Midlothian don't have that aura yet. And if they can go and knock off someone like Churchtown, I think it will certainly add to the hype around them. Game number 3, Hoddesdon Hornets, who are boring teams into submission, but they are now getting results. When you consider, everyone talks about the injury crisis at Hooligans. Hoddesdon have a horrendous injury list. Absolutely horrendous. But they're winning, and that is the main thing. Could they challenge the playoffs? I'm thinking no, just because I think they've got a world-class manager managing a decent squad. But it's not the Hoddesdon of previous incarnations of the Super League. They don't have the big-time players to pull them through. And you just worry that perhaps, not necessarily the depth, because the depth is being tested with the injury crisis, but the strength in depth is lacking, possibly. Whereas Bolton, where to even start? It's just getting worse. Again, I think last week's display and result against Sloss, no disrespect to Sloss, possibly the worst performance by any defending champion ever in the history of the Super League. Couple that with, as I've said multiple times, the worst defence of any Super League title that I can recall. They're an embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment. And I don't want this to sound like I'm going after the coaching staff there or anything like that. But it was pathetic. And obviously we were on comms together during the game. It was a pathetic display, an abject display, and incumbent with everything we've seen from them this season. And it is for that reason where I stand by the fact they are more than capable, on paper, of being a top 2 side, Bolton. But from what I have seen from them in, 14, 15 games this season, wherever we are, they are going to struggle to make top 6. And for any defending champion, and I think it's only happened once, for any defending champion to not make the top 6 the season after, it's absolute balls up. Like, we're talking considering your future crap. Game number 4, Hooligans. This is a must-win for Hooligans as they host Panathinaikos. I think Hooligans are almost there. I think what was said last week is true. I don't think they're playing their best players in their best positions. And I think if they just tweak, everyone talks about them tactically. I'm fine with Thiago keeping his tactics. That's what he likes. That's what he's used to. So I have no problem with him not changing it. If he just tweaks a couple of players, like move Ronaldinho from here down to here. I've just realised that doing that, the way the camera works is doing it in the opposite direction. So it looks like I'm moving in from central to out wide. That's not what I mean. I'm doing it. So I think, does it need to go like, yeah, so from here to kind of make sense on the screen. I'll get used to doing it backwards. But just things like that. And I think Hooligans are capable of putting a run together. And I still think they can challenge for top 6. Will they make it? Probably not. But I think they could make a real fist of it. Palmer for Nikos. It's an interesting one because I think a lot... When the guys that did the mid-season videos did theirs, they think they were ranked 6th every time. I think everyone said they'd make the top 6, but they would finish 6th. I think they're capable of so much more. But they're not punishing their rivals. I mean, if you look at it last week, okay, Churchtown won, Ardsley lost, Midlothian lost, Vallon lost, I think. I'm pretty sure, did I say they lost? Yes, they lost to Dragons. Vallon lost, Bolton lost. Okay, so that's 5. No, that can't be the 4. And then Palmer for Nikos lost. So that's 5 of the top 6. But if we're talking about Palmer for Nikos, that's 4 of their rivals they could have punished with a win. And it didn't happen. Now, people are saying that their squad isn't quite good enough. I think every squad in the Super League is good enough. That's the point in the Super League. We're not talking about teams like Norwich, and Bournemouth, who are finishing at the bottom because they're not good enough. We're talking about 14 teams who all have something about them and are all capable. And a league where anyone literally can be anyone. And I think Palmer for Nikos just need to find what they were about at the start of the season and revert back to it. And I appreciate it's difficult, but they're capable of 4th, 3rd, possibly even 2nd if they put a run together. The next game on the list is Sloths hosting Astor. 2 of the great characters. I hope there's some good promotion for this game. I think both managers are very entertaining. In a weird way, I actually think this game is more important to Astor because they need to back up what they did last weekend with a win away this weekend. And if they can do that, I think people will really start to take notice. Sloths, I think most people are beginning to think that they're not going to finish bottom 2 already, which is understandable why when you think about some of the characters they have. It's just whether they can avoid that sort of mentality creeping in themselves. It's okay to be confident, but consistency hasn't been their strong point at any time during the manager's tenure. What I do think could be the difference, and it's the same as what I said on Sunday on commentary, the new striker for Astor, he could have a massive, massive say in where they finish and on a lot of games which could impact teams such as Bolton, Palmer for Nikos, possibly Vallon. He's the sort of guy who, if Alf gets this right, could blow things wide open. The penultimate fixture this week is Devils v BTEC. A lot of strong words were said from the Devils during the mid-season break, how they're going to finish in the top 10. And I said during the interview with Ian that I felt I needed 6 points from the first 2 games back and lost last week. So obviously that's not achievable. having lost last week, it is essential that Swindon Devils beat BTEC, because if there is another weekend like there was last weekend where everyone picks up points and Swindon lose again, then Devils are in real trouble. And it looks like, I'm pleased to announce, we could have our first guest of the evening, just as he connects in. I'm hoping that very shortly we will be able to say good evening to Scott. Hello, mate. Can you hear me?
Evening, pal. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
I was just sort of running through the fixtures that we've got coming up this week, but you've jumped in at a good time for me to ask you, what were the celebrations like after last week's game?
Yeah, it was good fun. Obviously, look, there was a lot made of the game in the build-up and a bit of rivalry that's going on between me and him. It's all sort of light-hearted fun. But yeah, it was good to see. I think everyone enjoyed Rox's video and Rox's reaction. I don't think he was best pleased. I think he'll probably have him in for some extra training this week or something like that. But yeah, it was good fun, yeah. Pleased to come away with a win after the big build-up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And can I ask, as someone who was considered in that little group of yourself, Dragons, BTEC, Sloths, Devils, all of whom were kind of within kind of a result of each other, is it kind of frustrating when you get a result like you did against Midlothian and seeing just about everyone else getting that result as well?
No, I don't think it's frustrating that we don't tend not to worry about what the other guys are doing. You know, it's frustrating the fact that you can get a result against somebody like Midlothian, but then not back that up with another win or two wins or whatever. You know, it's the inconsistency that's more frustrating rather than what other teams are doing. You know.
No, absolutely. Well, as I say, I was just running through the fixtures and I've done 6 of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put you on the spot with the 6 I've done so far and ask you how you think they're going to pan out. So, okay. Chudley, so yourself is the first game at home to Dragons.
I think I have to back myself. Obviously, we got a good win last week. Made a couple of changes from the team this week. I've already published the team, so Rossini's backing up front, and Gallardo will play on the right-hand side instead of Extrabeer, who's injured. It'll be a tough game. Obviously, Jamie's boys are in good form as well. Probably one of the informed teams in the league. But coming off the back of an impressive away win at Midlothian, I've got to back myself.
And the point I was making in my preview there is there was 2 points really for this game. Potentially, whoever loses the game is at risk of being sucked back in at the bottom. And how impressed have you been with Dragons getting 2 wins in a row against top 6 sides?
Yeah, you know, to string wins together in this league it is not easy. So, you know, Jamie's changed his formation in the last sort of 4 or 5 games, and it seems like his guys are getting used to playing that system. Viduka's obviously enjoying playing up top on his own. He's scoring again. So yeah, he'll be. They'll be bang up for it. Viduka will be on fire again. So you know, stopping Viduka from scoring will be a big part of us going to winning the game.
Match number 2 is a huge game at the top of the table. Churchtown host Midlothian. You've got the inside track on Midlothian at the minute. Can you see anything other than a Churchtown win?
No, and I don't think it would matter who is travelling to Ireland at this moment in time. Churchtown are a steam train and they're coming quick. So, you know, it's going to take something special to upset them. And I think I said in the mid-season review, Churchtown are my favourites to top the table before we go into the playoffs. They're in imperious form. He spoke about quite regularly that you have to sort of score 3 or 4 goals to give yourself a chance against Churchtown. And I don't see Midlothian scoring 3 goals away from home.
Game number 3 is the submission specialist Hoddesdon, who try and put the opposition to sleep. But as I've said before you came on, they are getting results doing it against the embarrassing defending champions Bolton Phoenix. Essentially, this game means fuck all to anybody, does it?
I don't think there's any games that mean fuck all. You know, let's be honest, these guys put a lot of time and effort in. But I think if you just look at the injury list that Craig's got, and okay, Bolton's title defence hasn't been as spectacular as some might have expected. But if you look at the run they put together after
distant at times
in the second half of the season last year, I think Ryan might tweak his shape a little bit. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see what he does. But just think purely because of the number of injuries that Hodds have got and the fact that they can't put out a full strength team. They've got some big players missing as well. I think Lucio's out and some of the defensive midfield players who have been really strong as well. I think Bolton will probably edge it.
Just side note, and it might be the lighting on my screen, but have you accessorised your pen with your T-shirt?
No, this is my daughter's pen, and I've only just picked it up. I just started playing with it, but no, it's nothing. Nothing intentional.
The next game on the list is Hooligans, who are still chasing top six, against Palmer Panaikos, who are struggling to solidify top six. Are they close enough for it to be considered a 6-pointer or not?
Yeah, I think the guys, we spoke at length during the mid-season show and stuff like that, it's going to be hard for anybody to get into the playoffs. And I still think it is going to be difficult. But last week's results have sort of thrown it open a little bit. Palmer will be... You don't want to come in here dressed like that, do you? Sorry, my wife just got out of the shower and she was going to come into the kitchen, but I've warned her not to.
No, I mean, it's probably a good idea she doesn't.
But yeah, Hooligans, you just never know what you're going to get with them. We've spoken to them about them being strong at home, but actually, if you look through the results this season, I don't think they have been that impressive at home. But, they've always got the ability to pick up a result against anybody. And Chris Mack, still not sure that he's found his best 11 players. He's been pretty...
Does that worry you at this stage of the season that he doesn't know his best formation and team yet?
I don't think it's his formation. I think he's been quite settled with his formation. He's been quite open about how he likes to play in his 2-7-1 and all that sort of stuff. I don't think it's a system. I think it's him fitting his players into the system in their best players, in their best positions. Sorry, he's tried sort of Joe Cole, Riquelme, Nedved, all these guys in different positions and not quite got the best out of them. But I think it'll be a close game. I think if Chris Mack loses, then there's big pressure on them. But I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be nervy. I don't think there'll be a lot of goals in it. I think it'll be 1-1, maybe 1-1.
Okay, interesting. Sloths v Astor, which was the penultimate game I spoke about before you came on. I've suggested all the pressure is on Astor here to back up last week's result with another win to really propel them towards the top six. Would you agree?
Yeah, there's pressure on Astor, and Alf's been very open in the fact that he's still very confident that he can make the playoffs. With the gap that there was a few weeks ago, it was a bold statement from him. But there's signs that potentially a couple of sides in the top six are having a bit of a wobble. But yeah, the pressure is on Alf, and Sloths are in good form. And to beat Sloths at home, if they've got a full strength side out, is going to be tough for, I would say, most teams right now, never mind teams in the bottom half of the table. I think Sloths will continue their run, and I think they'll win 2-1.
Interesting. Devils v BTEC is the penultimate game on the list, and that was what I was talking about as you were coming on to the conversation there. And the opposite of what I'd done for the Astor game, I'm putting all the pressure on the home side this time, and I'm saying this is must win for Devils. Obviously, I've made a point of saying I will finish inside the top 10 this season. I'm not panicking after the result against Hornets, but I was disappointed not to get something out of it. Do you think, given the way the other results went, would you agree this is last chance for me to put pressure on sides like BTEC, like Sloths, like Hoddesdon?
Yeah, if you're going to finish inside the top 10, so above 10th, firstly, you need to be beating the teams in and around you to give you a chance of catching them. And you're going to need to put a run of wins together. You know, it's not going to be easy for you. BTEC have got that devil off the shoulder, and they've got their win last week. And if they can just start scoring goals, then they could quickly rise up that table. I think it's probably too far gone for them to make a charge for the playoffs like a few of the other teams in and around. But they could put a run of wins together and really start preparing for next season. So yes, there's pressure on you. Ian will also be putting pressure on himself as well. Let's be honest, nobody, with the greatest respect, wants to lose to bottom of the league. So there's pressure from both sides. I think it'll be a tight game. Two sides who struggle to score a great deal of goals. And again, it could be a low-scoring draw again. Maybe 1-1 again.
Well, what I will reveal live for this show is I have submitted my team for the game. We are sticking with the tactics that we've been playing the last couple of weeks, but we have made a couple of changes, including Zidane's been dropped.
Again.
So I was just saying Zidane's been dropped yet again. And both of our new signings in the window, Librapoulis and Chris, both make their debuts.
Exciting times at the Devils then.
The last game on the list.
Sorry, Pfeiffer, just to put one back on you. So
yeah.
What are you expecting from your new guys that are going to come in? What are they going to give you differently from the guys that have, let's be honest, failed so far this season?
No, that's a fair point. Chris gives me options at centre half. Because of the way it panned out, we had 4 centre backs at the start of the season. Lorenzo Amoruso was 4th choice, but he went AWOL in pre-season, so we had to get rid of him. But we'd already done all our deals. So I brought Gilberto Silva back into the team because he can play defence, although he's more of a defensive midfielder. But he's fucking awful. So he's gone again. And Chris, I don't know if you saw his stats when I posted them. Statistically, he's a good defender. And like I say, it just gives us options because, let's face it, Montero is always likely to be suspended, which then left us with 2. And at least now we've got 3. So we've got options. We can also then revert to 3 at the back sometimes if we feel it's worthwhile and still have that spare one. So that a centre-back was something I was keen to get. Librapoulis, the Greek forward, he's someone I've had on my lead save that I've been playing. And from him, he's not going to be the 20-goal a season striker. That's not what I'm expecting from him. He's been playing in that, kind of in the role Zidane's been playing the last couple of weeks. But the difference is, and I know you can't compare the Super League to home saves, but last time he scored, I think it was 15 goals and got 10 assists from that position. So I'm hopeful if he can get anywhere near 10 of either between now and the end of the season, that's going to pick us up enough points because he's got the quality, and I'm just hoping that I can replicate it. On the lead save, he was playing behind Viduka predominantly and next to Kuhl. I'm hoping that in players like Cliver and Ronaldo, I've got enough to replicate what Kuhl and Viduka can do. We'll soon find out.
Good stuff.
The last game of this week is the one that I've actually picked out as match of the day. And I said in my little talk that I did before you came on, it was hard not to pick Churchtown Midlothian. But I've picked Valen v Ardsley as potential match of the day. What are you expecting from this game?
I think we might see changes in formation from both sides. Both sides are struggling to find their best form. Valen are, I think, 5 without a win, Martin showed at the end of the last show, which I don't think anybody would have said at the start of this season, Valen will go 5 games without winning. Ardsley are having a little bit of a wobble. let's be honest, the run that they went on to propel themselves into that position and give themselves a cushion at the top of the league wasn't expected by anybody. And credit to Hodgie for that. And he will be thanking his lucky stars now that he's got so many points in the bag, because I would say he's almost a shoo-in for the playoffs. But as we saw last season, or as you guys saw last season, he didn't finish well, and I think that will 100% be in the back of his head. So I think I just get the feeling Hodgie might change it up a little. I don't think he'll make massive changes. And Andreas has been tinkering a lot more than he did last season as well. Obviously didn't get a great result last week, so I think we might see something different from them. Maybe Andreas might revert back to his narrow formation, just because he knows what he gets with it. So yeah, I think it's going to be a real tight, nervy affair. Is it at Ardsley?
It's at Vallen.
It's at Vallen. Okay, so I mean, nobody really wants to go to Vallen. No, but I don't think anybody would expect to go to Vallen and turn them over. It's a tough fixture. I think Andreas will probably. I might be completely wrong. I've just got a feeling he'll revert back to his narrow. And I think they'll probably just have enough at home. And if Hodgie loses this one, I think he'll start to really panic a little.
Okay. Listen, thanks for jumping on, because otherwise, when everyone watched this, they were going to be bored shitless of me just looking at the screen doing this with my hands. Essentially.
Yeah. 5-10 minutes after you posted it, Jamie asked if anybody was on, and a couple of other guys had commented, and I didn't know if anyone was on or not. So I thought, oh, fuck it, I'll just jump on and see if you're here or see if anyone else had.
No, it's fine. In my little intro, I explained that for a few weeks I'm going to be trying some different stuff. As I said, I'm not going to be doing the blog as such, but we're going to be doing 2 video things a week. And like I said in the group, hopefully that'll give the managers a chance to maybe do their own creative stuff. But before we go, and I know you have for a couple of the games as you were talking about them, I'm just going to read you all 7 games again, and I want no detail, just a score.
Okay.
Chudley v Dragons.
2-1 Chudley.
Do you know what? I'm going to go 2-1 Dragons.
Okay.
Churchtown Midlothian.
3-0 Churchtown.
2-0 Churchtown. Hoddesdon v Bolton.
0-1 Bolton.
1-1. Hooligans v Palmer for Nikos.
1-1.
I was tempted to go 0-0, but you've gone for a draw, so I'm going to say 1-0 Hooligans. Sloths v Astor.
2-1 Sloths.
2-0 Astor. Devils v BTEC.
1-1.
Oh, that's not good for me, that, mate. That's not good for me. I'm going to back the boys, knowing the team I've put out and the amount of attacking players I'm going to go for. 3-1 Devils. And then the last game, the Vallen versus Ardsley.
2-0 Vallen.
I'm going to go 1-2 Ardsley. Listen, again, thanks for jumping on. You'll get to see all the stuff I spoke in probably an hour's time. Did you enjoy, just because, we're modern guys, did you enjoy the Champions League? Because we found out that you're a massive Lyon fan, was it?
No, I've not watched any Champions League, to be honest.
Oh, no, it was Jamie. Jamie, the Juve fan.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I've been out playing a bit of cricket. Play cricket tomorrow for the first time in a few years, so just went out for a little practice.
And how was it?
Yeah, all right, yeah. You don't lose it.
It's like riding a bike.
That's it.
What do you consider yourself? Batter, bowler, all-rounder?
No, I bowl a bit of off spin. Not fit enough to bowl anything more than off about 3 paces. So I bowl a bit of off spin. Used to take a lot of wickets 10 years ago, but I'm not as fit as I used to be.
I don't think many of us are, to be fair, mate. But listen, you're in a lot better shape than I am. So you carry on. Good luck this weekend.
Cheers, buddy.
And is it tomorrow you actually play cricket? Because today was just a warm-up.
Yeah, I'm playing tomorrow, yeah.
Good luck for tomorrow, mate. Let us know how you get on.
Cheers,
And you've also agreed to take part in CM 0102 Old Firm. So good luck with that as well.
No worries, pal. Excited to see what you're going to propose for everybody. It'll be interesting. There's been a lot going on over lockdown, so it'll be interesting to see what you come up with.
It's very much going to be kind of like what Potato Mourinho did with the Crystal Palace chairman one, but with a lot more themed stuff going on. And what I have done is what all the other players do directly affects what you're going to be able to do. So that's my little twist on it.
Right, okay, good stuff.
So, but yeah, more on that Sunday before it all starts on Monday. Again, good luck with the cricket, good luck on Sunday, and we'll speak again soon.
Cheers, Fife. Speak to you later, buddy.
Bye.
See you, mate.